Turn it up, let it blast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Ready, Set, Cheer alongside Brighton head coach Christina Peacock. My name is Liles, and wow, what a weekend it was in the competitive cheer world. Lucky for you, we're here to let you know who advanced, how everything went, and a matchup to keep your eye out on this upcoming weekend. But first, I want to start off with competitive cheerleading isn't like any other sport. So if you don't have to win the district, right, to move on to regionals, how does that work?
Correct. So you have to place top 4 at districts to move on to regional, and then again in top 4 at the regional to move on to state finals. So we have 2 regional locations. The top 4 from both of those regional locations move on to state finals. So there are a total of 8 teams at state finals. So no, you don't have to win the regional to be able to make it to state finals. Just place top 4.
Okay, so let's jump right into it. Regional 8, we have Hudson, who, we talk about every week. We mentioned last week how in Division 4, you see these dynasties sort of switch more than you would in a higher division. Do you see that happening maybe in the near future?
Yeah, so we have Hudson, who, again, we've been talking about week after week as an absolute powerhouse. They're going to come in, and they're coming in as defending champions. So they have, a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, but they also have a little bit of a target on their back.
Absolutely.
So Hudson's going to come in, and, they're going to give everything they have to defend. And they obviously, we're expecting to see them at the state finals in the first place. But I can tell you Michigan Center is not going to go down without a fight, and Adrian Madison is not going to go down without a fight. So, Hudson, it's not a shoo-in for them. They're not going to be able to just kind of waltz their way to the state finals. There are going to be some teams that are coming in and absolutely putting up a fight for that regional title.
Well, that region takes place tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Michigan Center. We will go on ahead and move along. Region 7. Who's in this region and who's got the upper hand, do you think?
So in Region 7, we have quite a few teams that have kind of bounced back and forth up and down the rankings. We're looking at Gladstone, Hart, Mason County Central, Lawton, Munising. Some of these teams have been at state finals before and some have not. So it's kind of an exciting region because we could see some teams that make it to the state finals for the first time. And that's always an awesome experience. And, we could have a brand new regional champion over here. But anytime you get kids that are competing and vying for those titles and trying to win those big trophies, it is really, really exciting. But again, I'm expecting that we probably will see some new faces out of this region at state finals, which is really cool.
So exciting. And looking at their scores from districts, they're all fairly close. So this should be a very competitive region.
Absolutely. I can't say that there's going to be a team in this regional that is going to come and run away with a victory.
Right.
I think it's going to be super close between all of those teams. And you probably have about 5 teams within that region that really are going to be fighting for those top 4 spots.
It's just so exciting. I love talking about it. All the new faces that we're just so excited to see. Once again, that takes place tomorrow at 6 at Grand Rapids Northview. Moving ahead to Region 6, Notre Dame Prep, Croswell, Lexington, and Richmond, teams that I feel like keep talking about every week. And they see each other often. Do you think that helps or hinders you in a competition like this?
Yeah, we mentioned last week when we were talking about the districts that the district that they're in is quite a difficult one, and really it contains some of the most top teams. So when it comes down to this regional, there is no clear-cut winner. There is no clear winner that's going to kind of run away with it. We're seeing the top 4, 5, 6 teams all in this one region.
Right.
So we're going to have an absolute battle. Like the top 4 out of this region is not given. You have quite a few teams in this regional that could make a case for being at state finals. And this one's going to be a real nail biter. I'm really excited to see how this one shakes out. A couple weeks ago, I maybe would have said Richmond as the champion, but I can't say that any longer.
Yeah.
There is no for sure champion out of this regional, and that makes it really exciting.
Do you think they enjoy that competition, or maybe they're like, can we bring somebody else in, like bring somebody into the mix? What do you think?
I've mentioned it in the past, but you become better by competing against the best.
Absolutely.
And those teams are constantly competing against each other, whether it's at invitationals or in this MHSAA tournament, or some of them in the very same league.
Right.
So these teams, yes, they see each other, but you know what? Competing against the best makes you even better. So they find ways to be at the same competitions to prepare them
Yep.
for this MHSAE tournament because they know that's what the shakedown's going to be.
Yep. And we know it's for sure going to be a good one. That takes place tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Novi. Moving on ahead, Region 5. What can we expect from this region?
Yeah, we have the defending runner-up in Paw Paw in this region, so we know obviously they're going to put up a fight. We also have Portland, who made it to state finals last year. We have Lakewood, Lake Odessa, who has been a return finalist from years past. We have Tri-County, who has
Yep.
been a state finalist of years past, and Comstock Park is in that regional as well. They're like regular state finalists as well. So we have some heavy hitters in this D3 that are in this region, teams that have made it to state finals for many, many years in a row.
Yep.
We're at the point in the season now where you're not going to find a regional that's going to be just a walk in the park. They
Absolutely.
all have many, many teams that are going to be fighting for these top 4 spots.
Yep. And I feel like we talk about it every week. It's the experience factor of we have been here before, we know what to expect. And like you said, all of the teams in this region are very used to being in this position. So everyone's going to bring it in this region.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not going to be a team that's going to kind of waltz in there and say, "Oh, hey, here we are,"
Yep.
like let's just have, a good time. It's ours to take.
Right.
It's a battle. It
Right.
is
And I
absolutely a battle.
Yep. And everyone knows that, they're all just all of these regions are they're going to be so fun to watch. I'm so excited. That one takes place tomorrow at 11 a.m. at Rockford. And Region 4, we have Allen Park, Divine Child, Carlson. Again, a very competitive region. How fun and competitive is this one going to get?
Oh gosh, when you talk about close, it's going to be close.
Yep.
You have the classic Carlson Allen Park showdown that is happening all the time. You can't mention Division 2 without mentioning those two teams. So
Yep.
you really have a regional showdown there. I would say that those top 2 out of that region probably will end up being top 2 in the state, and it could go back and forth. You never know. One could win region, one could end up winning state, but you do have Divine Child, who has been a multi-time state finalist that is going to put up a fight in that region. You also have a newcomer in South Lyon East.
Right.
So we could
Right.
see a new team to D2 state finals in South Lyon East. But again, Southgate is in that regional as well, and they're
Yep.
typical state finalists. So we're seeing that battle for the state finals position.
And it's just the most fun time of the year. I know I keep saying how excited I am, but seriously, just watching these play out every weekend it's so exciting. And that region takes place tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Holly. Moving on ahead, Region 3. Some new names that we haven't really talked about on the show, so I'm excited to follow along. We have Bay City Western, Cedar Springs, and then Thornapple Kellogg and Forest Hills Northern that we have talked about. What are these new faces? What can we expect?
Yeah, definitely. So when you're kind of looking at the scores from districts, it's hard to take those district scores and to put them up against each other because every panel of judges judges a little bit differently.
For
But
sure.
there are some teams that we know are going to be very competitive over in that region. We have Forest Hills Northern, who was a state finalist last year. You have Thornapple Kellogg, who's trying to make a trip for the first time. They won
Yep.
their district, so they're
Yep.
on a high right now. You also have Bay City Western, who kind of came out as their district champion. So they could be state finalists this year. You're going to see probably out of this region some first time state finalists, which is really, really exciting.
So exciting. Every time we wrap up a region, I just can't wait to see what happens. That one takes place tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Grand Rapids, Kanoa Hills. Moving on ahead, Region 2, Rochester Adams, Lance Cruz, Rochester, a ton of heavy hitters in this region. I mean, how competitive is this one going to get?
When it comes down to Division 1, the limitation to 8 teams at state finals is absolutely cutthroat.
Yep.
It is totally cutthroat because Division 1 features so many incredible teams that for the top 8 to be at state finals, there are many teams that really should be state finalists that are going to be staying home.
Right. Yep.
So to pull 4 out of this region, you're going to see 4 incredible cheer teams, and you're going to see a couple incredible cheer teams that stay home. Now we have the Rochesters. Those
Again.
3 teams are going to compete, and they're going to bring it, and they're going to bring it hard. L'Anse Creuse North put up a really good score at their district, and you have Dakota as well as
Yeah.
Sterling Heights Stevenson, who also put up incredible scores. So
Yep.
you really have quite a few teams from this region that could make a case at being state finalists.
How important is it that they go in there and they have that mentality of, I have to work for this day in every round. I have to be on top of my game. How important is that?
Yeah, certainly there is a whole mental aspect that comes down to it, right? You're fighting for a spot at state finals, which can be added pressure. However, you mentally have to kind of remove that piece and
Yep.
just put yourself on the floor and say, I'm going to do the best that I can today. I'm
Yep.
going to put out the 3 best rounds that I absolutely can, no matter what's at stake. So
Yep.
these teams really have to go in and kind of play the mental part of the game of, okay, physically, we can do this.
We're
We
ready.
know we
Yep.
can. Mentally, where am I going to put myself and how am I going to mentally put myself in the best possible place that I can to ensure that I put my best performance on the floor?
Absolutely. And that Region 2, takes place tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Troy, Athens. And we have made it to our final region, Region 1, Heartland, Brighton, Granville. And before we talk about regionals, we have to talk about what happened at districts. What happened?
Gosh, I
Deep
think it
breath.
was, the past couple weeks, we have been discussing how important those point ones are.
Yep.
And we came out of districts in second place by point one,
Yep.
a tenth of a point. So it's just been such a roller coaster, up and down emotions. You're excited, and then
Yep.
you're kind of like, let me get this done. I've had to work so hard for that point one, but also knowing point one could be anything at
Right.
any point in the day. So we're kind of coming in with this like renewed kind of grit and
Yep.
this excitement of like, it's point one. Point one is nothing. Let's
Right.
just go out there and let's do it.
And we talk about every week, judges are different and what they're looking for at each competition is different. So that point one could have went either way. It just really depends on what they're looking for. But anyway, this is going to be such an exciting region to watch. We say it every week that, all these Division 1 teams are so exciting, but what can we look forward to?
Yeah, for sure. So you're going to see, obviously, Heartland coming out super, super strong. They've been strong all season. They've been putting out great performances time in and time out. And, they're kind of coming in, I would say, a little bit at the head of the pack with the highest district score. But again, point one
Point
difference. You
one.
never know what's
Right.
going to happen, right?
Right.
Like we've been preparing all week, and that point one is really fresh on our minds. So obviously, a big fight's going to happen. Cannot, under any circumstances, count Granville
Right.
out in any way, shape, or form. They are heavy hitters every single year. Granville is a contender. So they're going to come in, put up a huge, huge fight. What's exciting is that there are also several teams from our region that could make it out for the very first time. We have
Right.
Lake Orion, who is a standby. They're a strong team. They're state finalists all the time. They're obviously going to be there putting up a
Right.
fight. You have Hudsonville, who has been state finalists regularly in the past. They're going to put up a fight. But we have some new faces in the game that are definitely coming in, and they're fighting for a spot. You've got Anchor Bay, who has been doing so well this season.
Yeah.
They're
Yep.
coming in as district champions. You have Grand Blanc, who won this regional last year. They're
Right.
coming in to fight for a spot. You have Milford and South Lyon, who are newcomers. They're coming in for that 4th spot.
Yep.
This is really going to be exciting to see who the top 4 teams are that advance.
Cannot wait. Region 1 takes place tomorrow at 11 a.m. at Brighton. And that is all we have for you on this episode of Ready, Set, Cheer. Good luck to all the teams competing this weekend. Coach, good luck, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks. We have 1 week till state finals.
Woo!
So we'll be here a week from now just discussing where we're at then.
Absolutely. See you next week, Coach.
Bye.
Ready, Set, Cheer, presented by Lawrence Technological University. Visit ltuathletics.com and recruit yourself. Ready, Set, Cheer is also brought to you by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics. The Michigan Army National Guard, a proud partner of the MHSAA. The Detroit Athletic Club Foundation's Athlete of the Year Awards. Applications being accepted now until March 6, 2023 for the male and female high school athletes of the year. Check out previous winners and download the application today at dacathleteoftheyear.com.